Hello, St. Vrain FC teammates. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video presentation about St. Vrain FC, the logo, where it has been, where it is now, and where it is headed. Some things that we will be covering here. First, the historical context of the club and logo. Before we know where we are, we have to look back to see where we have come from. As we reminisce about the past, we can begin to analyze our current situation, and after we know where we have been and where we are, then we can truly begin to set goals for the future and establish processes toward those goals. And finally, the big reveal. The club was started in 1981 by parent volunteers in an effort to give their kids an outlet through sports, and it began as St. Vrain Youth Soccer Association. In fact, the club is still registered under that name, but simply doing business as something different. That club grew and developed both recreational and competitive arms until the early aughts, when the board of directors decided to disband the competitive arm as it wasn't working and was at odds with the club values at the time. Pictured, you can see the logos that were utilized until 2008. In 2008, the board of directors decided to begin hiring full-time soccer professionals. The board and professionals worked hand in hand to rename, rebrand, and rebuild. In the past 12 years, the club has grown from around 800 recreational players to about 2,000 players with both an established recreational program and a competitive program that work together toward the same goals. We have begun to achieve accolades for our service to the community off the pitch, as well as begun to see teams challenge at the highest levels of the state and moving on toward regional competitions. With such growth, progress, and success, people may wonder why make any changes. Well, the first thing to know is, are there any options available to us as innovators to take something good and make it better? Secondly, as we have grown so rapidly, it has been easy for the leadership team and members to get lost in their own teams and sections of the club. While that has worked, a streamlined approach will improve our messaging and ensure that everybody is speaking the same language. This will make our team more efficient and members more informed. As we have grown, we've had goals in mind. Those goals tend to take membership with them, but we want to develop a community where those goals are aligned across all key stakeholder groups. And goals are exciting. The future can be exciting. We want to share that excitement with everybody so that they can live the dream together as one unified community. Many clubs have gone through evolutionary processes. Clubs change with the times. Here you can see Arsenal in London, their current badge, and a variety of changes that they have made since their inception. Some of the badges here aren't just club logos, but special logos used for special events. Each has its own meaning to the club and relates back to previous iterations. One of the most aggressive soccer clubs in regards to branding is Juventus in Italy. Here we can see the modernization of their logo throughout their time as a club. Many of their choices followed a similar theme until the most recent change in 2017, which is a large departure from not only their norms, but also the norms of the soccer world. Unless you think the rest of the world changes while the US stays stagnant, here we can see the evolution of the Colorado Rapids brand since they joined MLS in 1993. And finally, to show that all sports and teams go through similar processes, here you can see the Denver Broncos timeline. Some changes are drastic, while others are more subtle. Our process began in November of last year and was in development well before we had to cease business operations. But in an effort to ensure that we are prepared for the restart, we have committed toward working for this goal. We began with interviews of full-time staff, the board of directors, coaches, parents, and players of both the competitive and recreational programs. As the interviews came in, we began to manage the data and feedback into manageable categories so that we could search for themes and commonalities within. And of course, once we had those themes, then we were able to set a course of action in place. When we began to analyze the data, a few themes began to emerge. And as we tie all of those themes together, this is what we got. St. Vrain FC is a positive and healthy environment dedicated to the development of the youth of our community. Through a love of soccer, we foster a sense of club pride, team belonging, and mastery of the game. As we learn to become our best selves on the field, we also learn the winning ways that bring us success in life. This is the message that we have been attempting to deliver for the past 12 years. If we can honestly say that we have started to achieve these things, how can we make things better? Well, as we begin to pull the curtain back a bit, you can begin to see how we arrived at the symbols through rationale and careful study. Everything will tie in together to mean more than just a marketing emblem. They will be a representation of our core values. Those core values being one, caring through action. We stand by what we say by making it happen in a way people understand. Great leadership seeks more ways to serve the community. 2, collaboration forges relationships. Our community knit is defined by inclusive collaboration and forged by commitment. Great relationships make everything possible. And 3, grit develops lifelong winners. Diligence and determination are fundamental to meaning and success. Showing up and working hard are the bare minimums for our teammates. So how did we arrive at these symbols? We began to look at our values and look for symbols that could encompass them. And we had to include the mountains in that list. In keeping with our theme of nature, we looked at the surrounding forests and the idea of developing strong community roots. With our desire to be performance-based and aspire to be the best that we absolutely can, we decided to use the St. Vrain River as a symbol of determination and persistence. Our club will still be St. Vrain FC, but our badge will now move to the next phase of our evolution. I'm going to sit silently for a moment and let you take that in. Here is a breakdown of the badge itself and how our values are represented. The first is the shape. We wanted to move toward a circle to show the constant collaboration and the integration of club within the community and surrounding areas. Secondly, the love of the game. The heart is at the very center of the badge. We were able to include the idea of the Front Range forests in our commitment to growth. We included the river in a reminder for players to be determined and focused in their goals to thrive. And lastly, we were able to provide an homage to the history of the club in its founding year and maintain the FC to be a part of the world's game. Here we can see some different applications of the badge. Just as we have different applications of our previous logo, we'll have different iterations for current uses in the future. Notice how Saint is now completely spelled out. It's another way to subtly differentiate. The crest will also be functional pending background in an effort to stand out, yet gracefully be a part of its surroundings. With a tagline or battle cry, we have something that unites us everywhere we go. As we grow, we can represent our community through togetherness on a local, regional, and national scale. As we grow, we have the desire to grow stronger. As we grow stronger, we have the desire to do it together. Stronger, together, go green. The first steps taken to unroll these things will be website, email, marketing, but the most noticeable will be on our uniforms. The competitive kits will evolve to reflect our new badge. Both women's and men's kits will have the flexible crest in time for competition, as will the recreational jerseys.